It was nearly 3 a.m. Jack, a taxi driver in a small American town, was finishing his final shift of the night. The roads were almost empty. A thin layer of fog covered the streets, and not a single person could be seen for miles. Jack was about to head home when he noticed a woman standing alone on the side of a deserted road. She was wearing an old white dress. Her long black hair covered most of her face. Jack slowed down and stopped beside her. Without saying a word, the woman opened the back door and sat down. "Where are you headed?" Jack asked. For a few seconds, there was silence. Then she quietly gave him the address of an old cemetery on the outskirts of town. Jack found it strange but started driving. The entire ride felt uncomfortable. The temperature inside the cab suddenly became colder. Every time Jack looked into the rearview mirror, he could barely see the woman's face behind her hair. She never spoke another word. 15 minutes later, they arrived at the cemetery. "Here is fine," the woman whispered. Jack stopped the car. When he turned around to collect the fare, the back seat was empty. The woman had vanished. Jack's heart nearly stopped. He immediately jumped out of the cab and searched around. There was nobody there. No footsteps. No movement. Nothing but rows of silent gravestones. Trying to convince himself there had to be a logical explanation, he got back into the car. That's when he noticed something lying on the back seat. A silver locket. Old and worn. Jack picked it up. The moment he touched it, the air inside the taxi became freezing cold. The radio suddenly turned on by itself. Strange whispers filled the speakers. Terrified, Jack sped away. The next morning, he returned to the cemetery to find the owner of the locket. There he met an elderly groundskeeper. Jack explained everything and showed him the silver locket. The old man's face instantly turned pale. "I know exactly who that belonged to," he said. "It belonged to Emily." "Who is Emily?" Jack asked. The groundskeeper pointed toward a grave near the far end of the cemetery. Jack walked closer. A photograph was attached to the headstone. His blood ran cold. It was the same woman. The same face. The same white dress. The same woman who had been sitting in his taxi. The groundskeeper took a deep breath. 10 years ago, Emily disappeared on the night of her wedding. A few days later, her body was found near the road where you picked her up. The killer was never caught. That night, Jack couldn't sleep. At exactly 3 a.m., his phone rang. Unknown number. He answered. A whisper came through the speaker. "He's back." The call ended. The following night, the phone rang again. This time he heard a frightened woman's voice. "Help me." Then came a horrifying scream. The line went dead. Jack knew he couldn't ignore it any longer. He began investigating Emily's murder. For days, he searched through old newspaper articles and police records. Eventually, he discovered something shocking. There had been one main suspect. A man named Robert. But due to a lack of evidence, he had never been arrested. Jack tracked down Robert's address. He lived alone in an abandoned house outside town. That same night, Jack drove there. The house looked dead. The front door was slightly open. Dust covered everything inside. As he stepped through the hallway, he heard something upstairs. A woman crying. Jack slowly climbed the stairs. The crying grew louder. At the end of the hallway was a closed bedroom door. He pushed it open. Inside, dozens of photographs covered the walls. Pictures of different women. And in the center, a large photograph of Emily. Suddenly, a voice spoke behind him. "You shouldn't have come here." Jack turned around. Robert was standing in the doorway. A knife gripped tightly in his hand. His eyes were filled with rage. Robert stepped forward. The knife raised. Then something happened. The lights began flickering violently. The room started shaking. The temperature dropped below freezing. A powerful wind swept through the house. Robert froze. His face turned white with terror. Standing in the corner of the room was Emily. Her spirit. Silent. Motionless. Watching him. Robert stumbled backward. No. No. Stay away from me, he screamed. Emily slowly moved closer. The lights exploded into darkness. Robert's screams echoed throughout the house. Then everything went silent. A few moments later, the lights came back on. Robert was gone. Only his knife remained on the floor. And Emily's photograph had disappeared from the wall. The next day, police searched the property. Robert was never found. No trace of him was ever discovered. After that night, Jack never received another mysterious phone call. It was as if Emily had finally gotten the justice she had been waiting for. But even today, some people claim that if you drive down that lonely road at exactly 3 a.m., you may see a woman in a white dress standing by the roadside, waiting for a ride. And anyone who